quote, "Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." Every time you fall, you have to rise. And you don't fall, that is not something great. But every time you fall, you rise, that is what you should do. Is the message clear? Fine. Let us go to the phrasal verb of the day, grow apart. This also goes with family. Please make a note. I have been giving phrasal verbs related to the concept of family. One or two I went a little off their track, but this is related to family. Grow apart, stop having a close relationship with somebody over a period of time. Initially you were close, but after some time, distance because of various factors, then you say, grow apart. Look at the examples, you understand. What is the first example here? As we got older, we just grew apart. Usually brothers and sisters, initially very close. As they grow older, what happens? Gap is some gap. Then we use this one. Have you got the meaning? Second example, since moving to London, he has grown apart from many of his friends. So London, India, lot of gap, they have grown apart. I hope you got the meaning. Shall we go to the editorial vocabulary? Today's editorial, a lot of words are there. In fact, I underlined but haven't brought the meanings. I will tell you have to write. So many words. So I may do a little fast. We'll start with the first one. And some of these words are familiar words. What is the first one here? Curb, singular, curbs, plural. It is a noun. It can also be a verb. What does it mean? A check or restraint on something. Curb something, restrict something. So familiar word, write the letter F. Distort usually goes with design, DTP, pull or twist out of shape. One thing. But here this also distortion of facts. Write the combination word distort. There itself you write the word facts. You change the information, you change the facts, distortion of facts. An important combination. But generally it goes with an image, something like that. Veera. No need, no need. What is the next word? Gambit. Gambit, an important word, put a star mark, part of speech noun, an act or remark that is calculated to gain an advantage. You do something to gain advantage, that is known as a gambit. Have you got the word? And it goes with, right next to the word polity. It goes with polity. Polity means the political system, government, parties, all that. Levy is an important word. I'm sure you all know it goes with what? Taxes. Impose, a tax. The combinations are there. A tax, fee or fine. And the next word is what? If you wonder what is impose, the next word is impose. So impose means a force, an unwelcome decision or ruling on someone. You try to force on someone something that is not pleasant, we use the word impose. But there's one sentence, all of you please write the combination. Write the combination. Impose your ideas. Generally we say, don't impose your ideas on others. Don't impose your ideas on others. Means what? Don't rub your ideas on others. Don't force others to follow your ideas. Have you got the meaning? Fine. I hope the mic is on. What is the next word? Hike. Hike can be a verb, can be a noun. As a noun, a sharp increase, and generally it goes with what? Write the word prices, price hike, a typical combination. And it is there also, especially in price, but you could write price hike. That is one meaning. Hike has another meaning. What is the other meaning? Write the noun form, hiking. Please write ing form. Hiking means long walk in the countryside. Long walk in the countryside, rural area, lowland areas. Writing pad. Long walk is called hiking. You all know this word, hiking, the second meaning. Go to the next one. Some problem today. What am I supposed to do? No. Okay. What is the next word here? No, no, I will manage. ఇది నిన్నటిది అనుకుంటామా? What is the next word in the list? Please go to the next word. Buffer. Buffer, something that acts as a cushion. Buffer zone. Between two things, something acts to protect this side and that side. Then what is the word we use? Buffer. What is the meaning you see over here? Lessen or moderate the impact of something. So between two things, you keep something that will reduce the impact. Then we say buffer. Write the combination words buffer stock. S-T-O-C-K. Buffer stock. Stock kept it as buffer. Any emergency, you can use that. Write one more combination. Buffer zone. Z-O-N-E. Buffer zone. Glut is an important word, put a star mark. It goes with a business context. What is the meaning? Part of speech noun. An excessively abundant supply of something. Sometimes what happens in the market, you have a particular product or produce like a crop, a fruit or a vegetable in excess. Then we say there's a glut in the market. So write the combination, glut in the market. Today I may sound a little different because I have a bad throat. I hope you can make out. So glut in the market, an important expression. Let us go to the next one, uptick, an important word, put a star mark. They have given many a time, and if you read the editorials, you come across this word quite often. Uptick, part of speech noun. What does it mean? A small increase or slight upward trend, not substantial. What is the opposite of slight? Substantial. Substantial means a lot, but here slight improvement or slight upward movement. What is the word we use? Uptick. There is an uptick, means slight improvement. Have you got the meaning? Quintessential, an important word, put a star mark. Quintessential means part of speech adjective, representing the most perfect or typical example of a quality or class. Something acts as a typical example. Underline the word typical. Typical means what? Representing a group of people, section of people. A typical Telugu guy, a typical Kannada guy. Have you got the meaning? But for this word, there's another important word. Write that word. Epitome. Have you heard of this word any time? Epitome of something means a typical example of something. Something like a role model, epitome of something. An important word, exam point of view. Veera, why is it happening every time? Please excuse me. Looks like we have a problem today. Right. What is the next word over here? Stark. Stark, part of speech adjective, complete or sheer. But write the combination, we use the word stark outline. Also use the word contrast. The contrast is stark, means quite clear, distinct. Also write the word stark means distinct. Distinct. Oh, thank God. So what is the next word? Next word is an important word. What is it? Quell. Part of speech verb. What does it mean? To completely stop or end something. Completely stop or end something. Here you have to recollect the word, write the word eradicate. Have you heard of this word? Generally it goes with a disease, eradicate, and also write the phrasal verb root out. Root out the problem, eradicate the problem. Shall I go back to the list? What is the next one here? Procure. Procure we have got many a time. And if you go to big companies, what do? They procure the material. So part of speech verb, what does it mean? Obtain something, especially with care or effort. Need not be all the time. You obtain something, you procure something. And usually in a big company, you have a manager who deals with this particular activity. He procures the material from the vendors. Have you got the word? What is the next one here? A ramp up. An important phrasal verb they have given many a time, and you may come across this in the exam. A ramp up goes with, write the word combination, production, manufacturing. Write the word combinations. Production, manufacturing. Ramp up the production. Increase the level or amount of something sharply. Put in more effort. That's what it means. Play out, also a phrasal verb. Put a star mark. They have used in the editorial. Based on the editorial, play out means what? Develop in a particular way. We have to see how it is going to play out. Means what? We have to wait and watch how it is going to emerge or how it is going to develop in a particular way. An important one. And next word is an important word. Put a star mark. What is the next word here? Profligate. Have you heard of this any time? It's a new word, so put a star mark. Recklessly extravagant or wasteful in the use of resources. Underline the word extravagant. Then immediately you have to think of the word lavish. See, today a lot of words are there, so I may not be able to give related words. Otherwise, usually I give a word map. When it comes to spending money, so many important words are there. But today you remember extravagant means what? Lavish. And write one more word, spendthrift. Thrifty is a positive word, frugal is a positive word, but extravagant, lavish, spendthrift, all negative words. You spend money recklessly. What is the next word in the list? Spur. So that is an important word to encourage an activity. Forward movement, encouragement, spur in a particular activity. Volatile, I'm sure you all know the word volatile. Volatile means what? Sudden change. Suddenly it changes or disappears. Sometimes there, sometimes not there. So based on that, the word form volatility, part of speech noun, liability to change rapidly and unpredictably. Not predictable. Suddenly it changes. What is the next word here? Eminent. Eminent, actually it goes with persons. There are two meanings over here. What is the first meaning? Famous and respected within a particular sphere. Write one combination, eminent scientist. Eminent scientist, a typical example. But the second meaning is what? Obvious, something that is conspicuous. Look at the second meaning here. Underline the word noticeable. There itself you write obvious, conspicuous, or worth remarking on. That is there you don't have to write. Obvious, conspicuous, something that goes without saying. And we have got these words many a time. Is that the last word? Please respond. As such, I have a bad throat. I don't want to say many a time. It's a request from my side. Shall I go to the editorial? So what is this editorial about? Last month or for 1 month or 2 months, I'm not quite sure. Tomato prices have gone up. You all know that. And now we have a new problem. Be prepared for that. What is it about? How do you pronounce this? The editorial is all about this. Yes or no? We all say onion. Actually, it is onion. How do you pronounce this? Onion. Don't think my English is wrong. Okay, that's what we are supposed to say. So it is all about onions. Driven to tears. Usually onions, when you cut onions, what happens? You get tears. So symbolic. Driven to tears. On the government's move to arrest prices. They wanted to do something, an initiative to do something in order to bring down inflation of prices, but the editorial has taken a stand. What is the tone of the editorial? It is not a good move. It is critical and analytical. It may make a negative impact, and instead of doing that, they have to focus on the supply chain and other aspects. That's what the editorial says. And here, the main idea, trade curbs on farm products will distort sowing preferences. Underline, already you got the meaning of the word curb, means what? Restriction. Trade restrictions on farm products. Onion comes under what? A farm product. Will distort. Distort has two different meanings. One meaning, it goes with an image. Write the combination distorted image. Distorted image means not the actual image, changed image. And here, change, that is a key word. Change what? Sowing preferences. You all know the word sow. You sow what? Seeds. The preferences may change, the editorial says, based on the initiative. What is the first sentence over here? With consumer food prices rising 11.5% in July, likely the third highest since the current retail inflation data series began in 2014, the government last Saturday made yet another gambit to arrest prices. So what do you understand from this? Prices have been going up or coming down? Going up, with consumer food prices rising 11.5% in July, likely the third highest since the current retail inflation data series began in 2014. Began when? 2014. Since then, it is the third highest. That's what it says. And the government last Saturday made yet another. Underline yet another. Means what? One more. Yet another gambit. Something like you try a particular idea or a particular act in hope of something good. Gambit to arrest prices. A 40%, what is that gambit? A 40% export levy on onion exports was imposed with immediate effect till at least December 31st. So what is that gambit in this context? 40% export levy on what? Which farm product? On onion exports was imposed. Underline was imposed. Which tense is that? Active, past tense. Active voice or passive voice? Right, passive voice. Past tense, passive voice. Was imposed with immediate effect. Also underline all those words one unit. With immediate effect. That's a standard expression. Till at least to which time? December 31st. A long way to go. This move follows curbs on non-basmati rice shipments outside India in July and stock limits on pulses and wheat imposed in June. So it talks about the latest one is restrictions on onions. But in the past, if you look back, two more things happened. One goes with what? Curbs on non-basmati rice shipments outside India in July, in the month of July. And the third one, stock limits on pulses and wheat imposed in June. So June, July, and this is what? Continuously they have been trying to do something or impose in anticipation of controlling or regulating the prices. Coming to onion exports which grew 65% last year. Underline which grew 65% last year, accounted per, also underline accounted per. Accounted per 8% of total domestic production. In this context, accounted per means what? It means contributed or responsible for how much percentage? 8% of total domestic production. But sometimes we use this underline account per. Means to be answerable for your actions. Another meaning of that phrasal verb. On Sunday, the government also announced a hike in buffer stocks. Hike means what? Increase. Increase in what? Buffer stocks of the curry essential by 2 lakh metric tons. What does it mean, curry? Underline the word curry. Hike in buffer stocks of the curry essential. What is curry essential in this context? Onion, obviously. Without onions, can you think of a curry? That's what it means. Onion traders and farmers in the midst of, that's an important word. What is the meaning of that word? In the middle of. But also write the word next to it. Please write the word. Just add the letter A. Both mean the same. In the midst or amidst. Both mean the same. In the middle of. To be surrounded by. In the middle of one meaning. Surrounded by another meaning. In the midst of what? The first upturn in prices. Upturn means, again, a positive word. slight increase in prices after almost 2 years, were not impressed. Markets were shut in protest in Nashik. What is the impact of this decision taken by the government? The last sentence in the first paragraph talks about the response of the farmers. Markets were shut in protest in Nashik, Asia's largest onion trading hub. You got the word hub yesterday. So, onion trading hub, one unit, as the farmers feared a glut and a price crash. Because of this decision, farmers fear two things may happen. What is the first thing? There could be a glut in the market. Means what? Glut means what? Excess of something. Too many onions, it becomes a problem. Excess, abundance. There is a saying in English. What is it? Too good is too bad. Have you heard of that? So it may result in that one problem. What is the other problem? And once you get a lot of something, price goes up or price comes down. Price comes down, and obviously prices crash. Two dimensions, glut and price crash. Now we'll go to the second part of the editorial. First one is not too much of information. Second one, a lot of information. Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh account for almost 60% of India's onion supplies. 60% only two states. And the deficient rainfall. What is the meaning of the word deficient? Less rainfall. And what are the words you have to recollect when no rain for a long time? Two words you have to think of. One is drought, the other one dry spell. Dry spell, drought. Deficient rainfall this month in parts of these states after excess rains in July had put a question mark on the moisture sensitive tubers prospects this Kharif season. Please underline moisture sensitive, one thing. Also underline tubers prospects. What is the meaning? What does the sentence refer to? Tubers, tuber means what here? Onion again. Please write there itself, onion. And onion is a moisture sensitive. That means what? If you take a particular room, you store the onions over there. If the walls are damp, there is moisture. Onions get spoiled within no time. That is the reason why we don't keep onions in the refrigerator. If someone does it, that is not a good thing. I don't think anyone does it, yes or no. This is a reason. So it talks about, and the deficient rainfall this month in parts of these states after. If you look at the monsoon this year, a little erratic. Monsoon peak months are 2 months, July and August. And July we got excess rains. We all remember for about a week or so, continuous heavy downpour. But August is supposed to be the peak of monsoon in our country. August has, we have to experience heavy rains, torrential rains. But do we have rains? No rains at all. The sentence talks about that. Deficient rainfall this month. This month means August. After excess rain in the month of July. Excess rains in July had put a question mark on the moisture sensitive tubers prospects this Kharif season. So obviously this erratic monsoon, the prospects of this particular tuber crop, what is it? Onion. The prospects are under not quite sure. Element of doubt is there. Next sentence talks about these worries. Obviously, when the future is future is bleak, write the word bleak. I hope I am not going very fast. You are able to follow. Future is bleak. Write that. Future is bleak. Future is bleak means future is not bright. Because of erratic monsoon, because of moisture sensitive nature of the crop, the future is bleak. Based on that, here, is it something to worry or not? So these worries likely triggered the recent uptick in onion prices. Uptick means what? Slight improvement, going up. Uptick in onion prices from around 23 a kilo 2 months ago to over 31 by this Monday. 23 to 31. No wonder if it touches 50 or 70 coming days or coming months. I am expecting that. Editor also feels that way. Shall I go to the next one? Relative to tomatoes, here. Relative to tomatoes, the other quintessential ingredient for Indian curries. One is onion, the other one is tomato. So relative to tomatoes, the other quintessential ingredient I'm sure you all know the word ingredient. When you want to make a curry, a recipe, what is the word we use? Ingredients. For Indian curries, this price surge. Surge, I have not brought the meaning. We have got many a time. Surge means what? Sudden increase. Surge was not as stark yet. Stark means not too distinct, not too sharp. Subtle difference. From 23 it went up to what? 31. Not as stark yet, although some analysts projected prices per kilo to touch 60 to 70 by September. That's what I said. Now it is 35. September itself, you can expect kilo onions touching how much? 60 to 70. Then it becomes a problem. Yes or no? To quell onion farmers' displeasure, quell means what? To stop. To stop. They are not happy. Farmers are not happy. Those who produce the onions, and to make them happy rather. To quell onion farmers' displeasure at the export levy imposed without a floor price, Food and Consumer Affairs Minister Piyush Goyal on Tuesday promised that onions will be purchased at a historical high price of 2,410 per quintal, and buffer stock procurements will be ramped up further if needed. So they're going to make farmers happy. How are the onion farmers? How are they going to make onion farmers happy? One, they're going to buy at a historical price. What is that historical price? 2,410 per quintal. That is one thing. Besides, they may purchase per buffer stock. They may procure onions. That also helps the farmers. Will be ramped up, but these two activities will be ramped up. Means what? They're going to do it more, put in more effort if required, if the situation demands. A Bank of Baroda report cautioned that steps such as export curbs also have a tendency to reinforce. Reinforce means what? Strengthen the scarcity factor. It may reinforce the scarcity factor. Scarcity means what? Lack of something. Worrying markets and push up prices further. Then because of this scarcity factor may come into picture, if at all there is a worry about scarcity, obviously prices shoot up. As simple as that. How this attempt to balance the interests of consumers and farmers plays out remains to be seen. How it is going to develop, we have to wait and watch. That's what the sentence says. Play out means what? How something develops over a period of time. A profligate use of such blunt policy interventions ends up distorting sowing preferences. What is the main idea of the editorial? Because of these decisions, it is going to make an impact on sowing preferences. So it is going to distort or change the sowing preferences in the coming year, especially in the very crops that spurred more inflation this year. So obviously it is going to make a negative impact, and it is going to change the patterns. What patterns is it going to change? Sowing patterns. Building durable food supply chains. Now the editorial takes a stand. Editorial says what the government has done or doing is not the right thing, and it has to do something else. That is the opinion of the editorial. What is it? Building durable food supply chains, especially for vegetables that are traditionally susceptible to price volatility. Means these vegetables, quite often the prices change. They are susceptible. Underline the word susceptible. Vulnerable is different, susceptible is different. Vulnerable has a negative connotation. What does it mean? To get exploited, to be in a position where you will be exploited. But susceptible also to be in a position where something makes a negative impact on you, but not to the extent of vulnerable. Both are entirely different. Susceptible to price volatility means they may experience the price volatility, and based on that needs greater attention so that monetary policy can focus on growth concerns. This is the stand taken by the editorial. For instance, if tomato imports from Nepal helped to cool their prices, I think slowly the prices have come down. Tomato. What is the reason? This sentence talks about that. For instance, if tomato imports from Nepal helped cool their prices from triple digit levels a month ago, I think triple digit went beyond 100 a month ago, it makes eminent sense. Here eminent means what? Obvious, conspicuous sense to engage with the neighbor for a longer term supply plan for vegetables with some predictable purchase assurances built in. So they have to depend more on their neighbor so that they can control the prices. Have you got an idea about this? Now the tone of the passage is what? Critical and analytical. The writer is discussing the government's efforts to control rising food prices, particularly focusing on what? Onion prices, through various measures such as export levies and stock limits. Two dimensions, one export levies, the other one stock limits. The writer expresses concern about the potential consequences of these actions and the impact on both consumers and farmers. And the last one, there is a sense of skepticism about the effectiveness of these interventions and the potential to distort agricultural practices, especially sowing practices. Shall we go to the exercises? First one, you have 5 idioms and 5 meanings and 5 idioms. I hope you can make out. First, you have a look at the first option, meaning. That is a meaning. What is it? Not feeling well. And what is the idiom for that? Over the moon, once in a blue moon, under a cloud, cry for the moon, under the weather. Answer is, write the letter. What is the letter you're going to write? Today, I can use this. I'm under the weather. Means what? Not exactly. I have a bad throat, sore throat. To make unreasonable demands. Cry for the moon. What is the answer? Cry for the moon. Demand not reasonable, not practical. Suspected of having done something wrong. Someone is under cloud, under a cloud. Which option is that? C is the answer. The minister is under a cloud. If you read the newspapers, you come across this. And extremely pleased or happy. Yesterday, I could not bring the editorial. I gave the reason also. Remember, generally what happens if you go to the Hindu editorial page, on the left you have 2 short editorials. Then you have the main editorial. Sometimes letters to the editor or sometimes an article. But whenever there is an important occasion, the editorial comes up with only one editorial on the left. So yesterday it was only not 2 editorials. Only one editorial. That means lengthy or short? One editorial, short editorial, I need an hour's time, comfortably. Imagine it is like doing 2 editorials, then I have to spend 2 hours for designing, extra time, for analysis, extra time. Not practical. That is the reason why I did not bring yesterday. You got the reason? And I was quite impressed the way they wrote on the moon, over the moon. Based on that, I brought the idioms. Now coming to the next one, extremely pleased or happy. What is the answer? Over the moon. A wonderful expression. On the moon, over the moon. Look at the wording. And the last one, not very often or rarely. We all do that when it comes to what? I usually give this example on the lighter side. I read the Hindu paper once in a blue moon. You got it, what it means, but not now, I suppose. Let us go to the next exercise. I will read the questions, or we'll go to the questions at the fag end of the session based on the time. Let us go to error location. Shall we? Today, to make it easy for you guys, like exam pattern, I have divided the sentence into parts. And I added the 5th part. No error, respect the 5th one. Do remember, don't ignore completely. Read the first sentence and tell me where the error is. The Reserve Bank of India's platform for loan approvals shall help small borrowers. No, tell the part. Now there are 5 parts. First you tell the part. 4th part. Why? That is right. What is wrong with the 4th part? Do we have to use a will or shall? Why? Wonderful. The way you are responding, I appreciate. Why? What is the subject here? Underline Reserve Bank of India's platform. Platform is the key word. It's a noun phrase. The Reserve Bank of India's platform. and noun is singular, third person singular. When it comes to all the future tenses, there is one important rule. What is that rule? We can use will or shall with I and we, first person singular, first person plural. All other pronouns, you, he, she, it, they, we have to use only will, not shall. So what is the right word here? Will. Go to the second question, a lengthy sentence. The Reserve Bank of India's plan to establish a public tech platform for frictionless credit is a well-intentioned move that is aimed for easing the flow of credit. Wonderful. Aimed for or aimed at? Please write aimed at. And I would like to give a suggestion. If you do, it will help in the long run. Whenever you answer a question, whether especially error location, any exam topic related to grammar, make it a habit writing next to the sentence what it is about. Make it a habit to write next to the sentence what it is about. First question is about what? A rule that goes with all the future tenses. That's what you have to write next to the question. And second one is about what? Prepositional combinations or fixed prepositions. Once you write that way, that helps in the long run. Shall we go to the next sentence? Read the third one. You all have the handout, so you can read. The need for such a centralized public platform can hardly be overemphasized when one considers a lack of formal credit penetration. Where is the error? Which part? Second part. What is wrong with the second part? Can hardly overemphasized or can hardly be overemphasized? It can be emphasized, it cannot be emphasized. I'll give an example. I can emphasize that. Active voice or passive voice? Change it to passive voice. That can be emphasized. So what is missing here? Be is missing. So add the word be. That can hardly be overemphasized. That can be emphasized, that cannot be emphasized. And what is this about? Active voice or passive voice? Right next to it, passive voice immediately. Go to the next question. The question of what needs to be done to make institutional rural credit more inclusive continue to remain a vexing challenge. Wonderful. I appreciate that. What is the subject here? Underline the question of what needs to be done, put in brackets, to make institutional credit more inclusive. All these are phrases, put in brackets. Then what will you say? Continue or continues? Why should we add the letter S here? Sentence is in which tense? Present tense. Which form? Affirmative form. Subject is what? Third person singular. Then we should add S or ES to the verb. Right next to the question, it is about present tense, affirmative form, and also subject verb agreement, you can say. Go to the next one. The last sentence. A large majority of rural borrowers end in availing loans from informal sources, including money lenders, and often at usurious rates of interests. Where is it? End in or end up? Very good. That is not easy. Here there is a phrasal verb. End up in something. So end in is wrong. We have to say end up doing what? Availing loans from the private financial informal sources. Who has got all the 5 correct? Good. Others, it will take some time. Don't worry. We'll go to the next one. Because of space constraint, I could not bring 2 columns, but here idea is that we'll go to Veera. Looks like today there's a problem with the software. Go to words and meanings. Please go there. Match words and meanings. Do you see that? Go to that exercise. Is it stuck in them? You see the meanings first. Then down you see the words. You have to match the words and the meanings. What is the first one here? Make something unpleasant or intense less serious or severe. So what is the word? Write the letter easing. Go to the next one. Pay out money from a fund. What is the letter? Please write disbursal E. And the third one, price or rate of interest, is one that is unfairly high. Usurious, an important word. Which one is that? A is the answer. To use something that you already have in order to achieve something new or better. To use something to the maximum advantage. What is the word? B, leverage. Existing or happening now and therefore seeming modern. What is the answer? Contemporary. D is the answer. Who got all the 6 correct? 5 correct? Have you got enough time to work? Okay. Let us go to closed test. Developed by the Reserve Bank Innovation Hub. First one. And what is the next one here? Now you can see all the entire text and the words also. Developed by the Reserve Bank Innovation Hub. The platform will, what is the word here? Tell the letter. First one is hub. Which letter is that? E. And second one, what is the letter? Will feature. G is the answer. The platform, public tech platform, will feature what? Open architecture, open application program interfaces, and standards that would facilitate the what? Seamless flow of required digital information. Very good. C, next one. From varied entities. Very good. F is the next one. Seamless flow of required digital information from varied entities, including state and central governments, credit information companies, and digital identity authorities to lenders, as part of an effort to what? Validate the technology. D is the answer. And its utility. The RBI said the platform would be introduced in a pilot project. Underline pilot project. And next one is what? Not pilot. What is the next one here? Credit card loans of up to. I think something went wrong here. Go to the 7th one. What is the last one here? Credit sans collateral to. Next time, let me ask a question. How many of you can answer? See, this is from yesterday's editorial. That means your memory 24 hours. Next time, if I bring a passage like paragraph like this without the words, only blanks, how many of you will be able to answer? Are you ready for that? Or you need some more? You need more time. More time. Fine. And have we done with all the words? 2 exercises are still. One is questions. Go to the questions and try to write the answers. And what is the last exercise? Write about the editorial. Yesterday I gave an assignment. I wanted at least one student to write about the editorial. I wanted the student to read out so that I can give the feedback and everyone gets benefited. Has anyone done that? Good. Would you like to read out? Mic ready, no? Not ready. Okay, hold that one. You can do it tomorrow. And or you can write. I appreciate. Give her a big hand, all of you. I don't know how many those who have written, they deserve a big hand. And today's editorial, again you try to write. Tomorrow I'll arrange a mic. The last 5 minutes, only last 5 minutes, I'll give the mic, you have to read out. Then I give the feedback. That will help all the students. Shall we do it that way? Fine. And how many of you are going to take the exam tomorrow? Raise your hands. I wish you guys all the best. Do well. అయిపోయిందమ్మా? No, one last word. Those who are going to take the exam, tomorrow if you feel the paper, when you start answering tough paper, you feel that way, imagine. Then don't panic. Tell yourself, it seems a tough paper. If it is tough for me,